Hey guys! In today's video, I'll be reviewing the top 8 best gaming CPU. I made this list based on my personal opinion, and I tried to rank them based on their quality, durability, customer reviews, and more. If you want to know about the best pricing and more information, you can check the description links below. Number 8 in my list is AMD Ryzen 5700G 8-core 16 gaming CPU. AMD's APUs are the best processors to drop into your rig if you're not going to use a discrete graphics card, but still want a modicum of gaming performance out of your system. And the AMD Ryzen 5700G is the best of the Zen 3 chips to deliver that. Unlike previous APU offerings from AMD, the Ryzen 5700G is far more of a jack-of-all-trades chip because we are talking about an 8-core Zen 3 CPU component with 16 threads and a powerful Vega-based GPU to back it up. That makes this a chip that's almost up there with the best of the Ryzen 5000 series CPUs in processing power, but with the graphical grunt to deliver 1080 pixels gaming on low settings in some seriously demanding titles. It's a Zen 3-based processor with a 7nm, 180mm to 10.7 billion transistor monolithic die, with 8 cores and 16 threads. And by monolithic, we mean that it doesn't match the chiplet design of the other Ryzen 5000 series CPUs, instead squeezing everything into one traditional package design. Number 7 in my list is AMD Ryzen 7 5800X3D 8-core gaming CPU. At launch, the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X3D was the fastest gaming processor the Red Team had ever made. It's not so much anymore, but it remains the best bet for gaming performance if you're stuck with an AM4 motherboard. AMD's chip was and still is a technically impressive beast, using the latest packaging processes from TSMC to bung an inordinate amount of cash into its new CPU. Because after all, what do you do when you can't squeeze any higher frequencies out of your processor architecture? You stick a whole lot more cache memory into it and hope for the best. That's what AMD has done on the GPU side with its Infinity Cache, pairing up to 128 megabytes with its RDNA2 graphics cards to great effect, and now it's doing the same to its CPUs. The Ryzen 7 5800X3D is architecturally identical to the standard Ryzen 7 5800X using the same Zen 3 processor design, and therefore the same chiplet setup that has made AMD's recent generations of CPUs such world beaters. That means you're getting the same 8-core, 16-thread layout in a single chiplet, so no potential inter-chiplet latency issues, but a slightly slower clock speed because of a necessarily lower voltage. Number 6 in my list is AMD Ryzen 7 7700X 8-core gaming CPU. As an on-paper proposition, there's a heck of a lot to like about the new AMD Ryzen 7 7700. For starters, it's an 8-core, 16-thread chip, which is plenty for gaming and almost anything else short of pro-level content creation. More to the point, like its AMD Ryzen 7 7700X opens in new tab, sibling, this is a single-die 8-core chip with none of the performance compromises that come with AMD's pricier 12 and 16-core CPUs and their dual-die configurations, as minor as those compromises are in most cases. Number 5 in my list is Intel Core i9-13900K gaming CPU. Intel's Core i9-13900K is spectacularly good at what it does, and what it does is pretty much everything. Gaming? Of course, it can push high frame rates alongside the latest GPUs. Multitasking? Yep, easy. With 24 cores, it's perfectly suited to lots of stuff happening all at once. High-demand creative workloads? Absolutely, it barely breaks a sweat. Intel's hybrid architecture has really come into its own with the Core i9-13900K. Throw it at any problem, and it's likely going to solve it in record time. The Core i9-13900K actually makes XHEDT chips look slow by comparison. In fact, Intel's Core i9-13900K is almost 10,000 points clear of the Core i9-12900K in Cinebench R23. In the Blender Junk Shop benchmark, the Core i9-13900K is 60% faster than the Alder Lake chip. If you want lots of speedy threads to throw at creative apps, this is it. Number 4 in my list is AMD Ryzen Gaming CPU. We tend to define our budget range as $100 to $120, but the $140 AMD Ryzen 5 5600 deserves special consideration. This chip takes the top spot as the overall best budget AMD CPU for gaming with a solid blend of performance in both gaming and application workloads, bringing a new level of value to the Zen 3 lineup. It does come with a higher cost of entry than the $106 Core i3-12100F, but is more than worthy given its higher level of performance. The Ryzen 5 5600 is 10% faster than the 12100F. If you're fine sticking with the previous Gen AM4 motherboard, the Ryzen 5 5600 makes a great budget build. The primary trade-off for the AM4 platform is that you're limited to DDR4, a good thing given DDR5 pricing, and you don't have access to PCIe 5.0. Very few SSDs are even available at this speed, and GPUs don't need it. But this isn't a problem at this price point. The Ryzen 5 5600 also makes an absolutely unbeatable deal if you're updating an AM4 first-gen Ryzen system. Number 3 in my list is Intel Core i7-13700K Gaming CPU. At $409, the Core i7-13700K thoroughly beats the $399 Ryzen 7 7700X and even unseats the pricey $590 Ryzen 9 7950X, all while delivering essentially the same gaming performance as Intel's own $589 flagship Core i9-13900K, but for significantly less. You can also discard the integrated graphics engine and get the Core i7-13700KF for $395. As always, if you aren't after top performance and heavy productivity tasks, the Core i7 model takes the shine off the Core i9. The Core i7-13700K is a great high-performance gaming chip at its price point, offering 95% of the flagship Core i9-13900K's performance for $190 less. Better yet, you can overclock the chip and get basically identical performance to the Core i9-13900K. The 13700K is also 18.8% faster than the previous Gen 12700K and basically ties the Ryzen 7 5800X3D, but beats it after overclocking. Our benchmarks show the Core i7-13700K is also a much better all-rounder than Ryzen if you're looking for performance in productivity work. Number 2 in my list is AMD 7000 series Ryzen Gaming CPU. AMD's 6-core 12-thread $229 Ryzen 5 7600 is very similar to the X-series Ryzen 5 7600X. But it is $20 less and delivers close to the same amount of performance, trailing its X-series counterpart by 5% ranked in gaming. The Ryzen 5 7600 contends with the $196 Core i5-13400F, a potent foe on the pricing front, but it is a worthy alternative if you plan to go with DDR5 memory. Although the Ryzen 5 7600 is 7% faster in gaming than the Core i5-13400F at stock and overclock settings, the pricing between these two chips isn't as close as it appears. That's primarily because of Ryzen's strict requirement for pricey DDR5 memory and the generally higher pricing for AMD's B-series motherboards, both of which increase the cost of your build significantly. As such, the Ryzen 5 7600 can't compete with the value of a DDR4-powered Core i5-13400F rig. You'll pay 35% more for the Ryzen system and tilt 25% more per frame to get the tilt 7% increase in 1080 pixels gaming performance. Number 1 in my list is Intel Core i5-13400 Gaming CPU. The 10-core 16-thread $221 Raptor Lake Core i5-13400 and the graphics-less $196 Core i5-13400F build on the gaming performance of the previous gen model that has long been the go-to mid-range gaming chip, but the addition of 4 E-cores improves performance in threaded productivity workloads. The 13400 support for DDR4 memory gives it an unmatched value proposition in the $200 price range, making it the go-to chip for mid-range gaming PCs. The chip has 6 P-cores that support hyper-threading and operate at a 2.5 GHz base and 4.6 GHz boost clock. The 4 E-cores for threaded tasks run up to 3.3 GHz. The 13400 supports leading-edge connectivity with support for DDR4 3200 or up to DDR5 4800 memory, along with 16 lanes of PCIe 5.0 and an additional 4 lanes of PCIe 4.0 from the chip for M.2 SSD. That's close enough to make the Ryzen 5 7600 a solid choice for a DDR5 gaming system, provided you have the extra $50 in the build budget. As such, the Ryzen 5 7600 is listed as our alternate pick below. The Core i5-13400 comes with a capable cooler that can handle its 65 dm/148 DU base and peak power rating, and you can use a newer 700 series motherboard or an older 600 series model if the BIOS supports the chip. Most gamers will enjoy the lower price and comparable performance of DDR4, but you can step up to the more expensive DDR5 if you need access to more memory throughput. Intel's partners have B and A series motherboards available, and a B660 by B760 motherboard plus Core i5-13400 CPU makes a killer gaming combo. Alright guys, this was our today's video. If you find this video helpful for you, then like the video, and if you come to our channel first time, then hit the subscribe button for our amazing upcoming videos. Be sure to check out the links in the description for the updated price of all products discussed in this video. Hope you have a great day and see you soon in the next video.